Hi, this is Supriya Kabra here from Cosmic Consultants. I today proudly have Mr. Sandeep Gajendra Gadkar and Mr. Vikram Sathe, who both of them are very senior HR professionals and are associated to Cosmic Consultants. Let me quickly, just in a line, introduce you to Mr. Vikram Sathe. His IR and legislation experiences in HR had been so brief and so intense that he has over 3 decades of experience. He has been working and leading the IR teams for bigger companies, bigger brands like Tata, like Coca-Cola, and furthermore. If I take the time ahead, I think even half an hour will be not enough to introduce Mr. Vikram Sathe. We are here to just clarify certain doubts about the legislations and current scenario, where we all know that right now many salary revisions, working revisions, and so on and so forth. There are so many things which are talked about and which are also been implemented about, which for us was creating a lot of confusion how legislations can impact such decisions in long term or in short term. So Vikram sir, we welcome you to this complete setup, and we would want to know from you that how the legislations and which major legislations are going to impact the current scenario.
Well, thanks, Supriya. Very glad to associate with Cosmic Consultants, and it's a very nice feeling, Supriya, that we are concerned and Cosmic is taking right steps to introduce to people and to advise to them at the time when they require it the most. Okay, just small correction. I have been leading HR as well as IR teams. Yeah, it is not only IR. Okay.
So okay. Sorry, sir, but then your profile is so huge, I can't mug it up. So,
okay, I'll make it short. Yeah. Okay. So coming back to question, Supriya, the important laws or legislations, there are just 5 or 6 which come to my mind, and these are the top of the list. The first one, of course, is the Disaster Management Act and the policy that was released in 2009. The employee compensation related laws, PF, ESI, all these social security laws, for that matter, we can consider it's not a law, but it's Mediclaim, personal accident policy, all these benefits that we extend. So everything encompassing employee social security and wellness is there. The third would be Payment of Wages Act and Minimum Wages Act, for that matter, which applies to the whole range of employees and all the industry, a bit core, non-core, however it is. The fourth is the Factories Act and the Shops and Establishment Act. Of course, it covers manufacturing and non-manufacturing industry, and that's how each and every business gets registered in India. The fifth one is favorite of mine, that is Industrial Disputes Act, Industrial Employment Standing Orders Act, which is applicable across establishments in India, be it IT, non-IT, ITES, BPO, KPO, anything which can be called as an industry, a place where you do business. So all businesses are covered into this because it takes care of, or I can say it ensures that disputes should not happen. Anyway, the last but not the least is the Contract Labor Regulation and Abolition Act. Now, this particular act is definitely applicable and has to be taken care, because I have no doubt in mind that majority of working hands are on contract these days. Yeah, and they are there in white collar also, where the Contracts Act comes into place. So these are 5 or 6 legislations, I will say cluster of legislations, which are of top importance when we start our business or restart our business or relook into our business.
Lovely. Superb, sir. So what we are going to do with you, sir, that we would be discussing disaster management and its implications today. And then, guys, do stay tuned with us, because we are not going to leave sir just like that without discussing and without getting inputs about the other legislations too. So this 6 days, this entire week, we will be discussing one legislation daily and seeking inputs from sir. So going ahead, let's move towards disaster management as the first act, as just sir has given us the overview about. So sir, why don't you give us a 5-minute overview about what exactly is Disaster Management Act and why it is applicable right now?
Oh, okay. Let me try my best, because Disaster Management Act and whatever comes, all the frills along with it, is a topic of discussion or explanation. It can run into days anyway. But just to give you an overview in quickly, simple. What is a disaster? A man-made or natural calamity that the human beings are facing on this earth, which causes serious damages to livelihood, lives of people, and property. Yeah, very simple. So it's like a danger. Now, when we talk about disaster, of course, it's an unknown thing. It's an unforeseen event. And we have to be prepared for that. Now, preparation has to happen well before the disaster comes. But the issue is, we don't know what kind of disaster will hit us when, like COVID-19. So the disaster management program or process of any company or any country, the basic principles are the same. See, it stands on 4 pillars. That's the main approach to managing any kind of a disaster. The preparedness is before, and the mitigation and all other control mechanism comes afterwards. So pre-event and post-event. So all the people who have worked in industry, especially in safety, environment, as well as the quality systems or any kind of such business systems, including IT, they are aware of this disaster management thing which is happening. Yeah, I mean, disaster can happen with anything, anybody, any machinery, any man, any area, any locality, any region. It can have various kinds of issues that people would face, or the man and material would face. So you need to be prepared for something which you don't know actually what they will do. So the preparation has to be, 1,000 times, or I don't know how many times more than a small disaster. Just taking an example, we always prepare for any eventuality in case of, a minor accident. एक समझो चोट लग गई अपने को, तो क्या चाहिए? तो डेटॉल चाहिए, कॉटन चाहिए, बेसिक चाहिए, so that you can stop the blood flow or blood oozing out. But this kind of pandemic may require a lot of things, and I need not talk about it because people are seeing it, people have faced it. Unfortunately, our government is doing a lot about it, but it is not complete. Yeah, हम पूरे नहीं पढ़ रहे उसमें because it is an unknown evil. Fine. Now, as far as Disaster Management Act is concerned, it is enacted in the year 2005, and a disaster management policy is released in 2009, as I said earlier. These are the 2 basic documents on which the disaster management machinery in India is, designed on and functioning as per that. Now, this is largely based on the Sendai framework, which was released in a conference, an international conference by USDRR. Now, what is this USDRR? United States Office for Disaster Reduction, Disaster Risk Reduction. Yeah? So, how to reduce the risk from a disaster? That's how is the function of this particular office, and it's at the international level. So their convention happened in Sendai in Japan, and they released it for all the nations to adopt. So we have adopted Sendai framework, and on that framework, our law is made, and all the preparedness procedures which central or state government is making are based on that. Now coming to the machinery and what can happen and what cannot happen, again, it will take me around a week to explain that. But in just 2 minutes, let me tell you how it operates. Disaster Management Act operates at multi-levels. So it's a multi-tiered system. So you have 3 tier in your railway, Supriya, right? Which are not flying now, but fine. They have started flying for people who need it most. But in disaster management, it is 4-tier approach. The first one, definitely central government. The second tier, state government. The third tier, your municipal corporation or municipal council. That is there, sorry, at the 4th tier, but in between there is a district administration which is there. So central, that is India-wide, then state-wide, then district-wide, and then local. Local can be even Gram Panchayat, a Nagar Parishad, or a municipal corporation. And even in that, there is a local area. You know, we are divided into zones right now, red, yellow, orange, whatever. Now they are talking about only 2 kinds of zones. Yeah. So, I mean, people know about it. So again, zone-wise, area-wise, locality-wise, there can be various authorities which are acting, like your municipal corporation authorities, officers, or your police team. So all these are authorities under various acts, as well as there are so many departments like welfare department, to have fire and safety department. So there are so many departments, home department, all these departments are there. People who take care of cleanliness of our cities or villages or towns. So all those come into picture. Now, the issue is what happens, you know, water always flows from top to bottom. So similarly, the authorities or the fatwas kind of thing flow from top to bottom. So the central government will issue some orders under this particular act and policy, and the entire machinery comes into place and starts working. It is already in the place, but it is not visible because it is made to work only in such disasters. Now, central government does something which is binding on the state, as well as state government does something which is binding on the state, and similarly the district and the local. Now, since you have seen last couple of months how it was, you know, largely the control was with the Prime Minister of India, who is the authority under Disaster Management Act at central level. The chief ministers of state, same. The municipal corporators, the district collectors are same. If there is no district collector, then equivalent officer from police ranks or other administrative ranks. Then coming down to local is your even corporators, your MPs, MLAs, they may have some different responsibilities, but which has to flow from central to state, state to district, district to local. Now, why this is done? One line answer, the problem doesn't hit the same way everywhere. That's why there are zones. So the authority is delegated to people at those regions or areas or localities, so that you can take a decision on the spot because there is no time, and hence the machinery works. Now, coming down to the last maybe some seconds about the overview. The Disaster Management Act is an umbrella act.
Yeah, my next question was this only, that why it is called as umbrella act and why it looks to be one of the favorite acts of employers these days, while all the other wages act are going against them. Yeah.
Okay. See, why this is called as umbrella act is because, you know, how is an umbrella? Umbrella gives shelter to everybody when it is open. Yeah. So when the Disaster Management Act is coming into action, it has opened its wings. The whole canopy is open, and all other legislations are under that. So this umbrella covers each and every legislation which is in force in that particular country. any kind of, let it be civil, criminal, labor laws, commercial laws, whatever laws, coming down to your posh. What connection does it have in disaster management?
Yeah.
But still, disaster management authorities can make amendments in any act which is there under the sun, applicable in force in that particular country. Now, why? Somebody will say that क्या ये Hitler Raj है क्या चल रहा है मतलब? We are an independent nation and we have democracy. So what is this? Yeah. So democracy कहाँ गई अभी? So when such a war-like situation comes, this is more dangerous than war. What situation we are facing? So no act of no government has intention to infringe any of your freedom by amending the laws. But remember, when the enemy is not known, it is better the control is with one particular person or authority. One act, there is something which was there recently, one rank, one pension. So same rule everywhere. So let it be equal. So when we are fighting with this particular pandemic, we are all one. We are human beings. I may be a consultant, you may be an entrepreneur, Sandeep may be a professor or a great faculty. But when coronavirus attacks, he will not see and he will not say, okay, I will only attack consultants. I will not attack professors. That cannot happen. So similarly, the control and command tries to amend the act in favor of human beings or people who are getting affected because of it, so that they are well equipped to fight with this situation. What comes in a pandemic or a disaster, the most important is life and the property. So save life first, then your property, then everything else comes. Now tell me, saving life and saving property, what legislation is there? Is there a legislation on saving lives? Saving Lives of India Act, ऐसा कुछ है? नहीं है. So naturally, all these acts become secondary to follow when such pandemic or disaster situation is there. Another last comment. The amendment and everything. Certain things are very beneficial, are very positive. Yeah, like there is some holiday in terms of PF, there is some holiday in terms of paying taxes, some percentages of taxes is being reduced and something like that. Yeah. At the same time, certain conditions that you cannot call all your employees to office or a factory. You have to have sanitizers everywhere in the factory. More than employees, there should be sanitizers. Something like that. People may think, ye kya hai? I mean, what is this? But it is a temporary phase. As far as government machinery understands and there is a sufficient proof that now the enemy is defeated or controlled. Now we have formed a control over enemy, or at least the risk. We have mitigated the risk. Now we know how to do it. Then they will start taking out all these restrictions. That is, the umbrella will collapse. The umbrella will close. And all the acts will again surface and we will be normal. So it's temporary. Don't be afraid of that. It's temporary. Actually, you should be happy that somebody is directing you in a right direction, that, okay, do this, don't do this.
Sir, are there any different guidelines related to wages given in disaster management, which may be a little different from the other wages act, like minimum wages or payment of wages? Is there anything which is kind of contradictory to the wages act?
No. Supriya, Disaster Management Act or the policy and all other guidelines or machinery which is there, which is like a enacted document or adopted document in the country, does not talk about any specific law. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't talk about any other law, because again the same thing, you don't know what disaster will call for what action. And then that particular action will pertain to which act?
Correct.
That we don't know today. I mean, 2005, nobody knew. And today also we don't know. So it doesn't infringe anything. As far as wages is concerned, it doesn't talk about anything. But looking into the pandemic, looking into the issues that people would face, they're not working, they may not get their salary, they will get part salary, somebody will get, somebody will not get, whatever. So to reduce the issues because of this, which may happen, which can happen, that's why the central government or the disaster management authority declared or appealed to the government, I mean, appealed to all the employers not to deduct the salary.
Mm.
See, because, I mean, quickly, when do you deduct a salary? When you don't work.
Yeah.
When you don't work, there is no pay. No work, no pay. Simple principle.
Absolutely.
But what is the reason? Are you sick? If you are sick, there is a sick leave. I will pay you, even if you are not coming. Okay. Are you taking maternity leave? Yes. Then yes, as per act, I will give all the benefits. I mean, along with that, there can be some principles or practices that people are doing, like work from home. Work from home has become normal now, but work from home was a great policy and is a great policy today also in so many companies. So now whether to continue that or not, that disaster management authority will decide when they will know what risks people will carry, what damages this disaster will do. So it doesn't talk about wages at all. Okay, it talks about wages, it talks about remuneration to people who will be given additional responsibilities as disaster management machinery.
Okay. So I have clicked 2 questions. First, I will ask this relevant question immediately. So as you just said that if you are giving some extra work to your own people as a disaster management machinery, so would I have to pay them extra for this?
Okay. Now there are 2 parts, Supriya, to this. One is extra work. So if you are doing extra work as per the Factories Act or as per the Shop Act, whatever are your working timings, the extra number of hours put in by the employee, you have to pay them overtime, or you have to compensate it with a compensatory off. And there are clear-cut guidelines, people have been following it. So same guidelines stand in this case also. I know from where the question is coming, because some of the state governments, like I think a couple of days before, Karnataka government did it. They said you can work, you can work 10 hours a day instead of 8 hours a day. So it doesn't mean that your shift has become 10 hours. Your shift is still 8 hours and you are paying for 8 hours. 2 hours extra, since you have scheduled the work for 10 hours, 2 hours extra, you have to pay the overtime.
Okay. And the first time when you were explaining about the 4 tiers and you were telling that the PM or the central committee holds entire rights, they give some instructions followed by the state and stuff like that. So doesn't state have any control over amending the instructions coming from the central government?
See, as I said, delegation of authority can happen, and that's why a state, district, and local corporation or the council has those rights. But their first duty is to execute the disaster management risk reduction measures.
Okay.
That is one. So there can be something which is, applicable and to be done across the country. That will come from the center. But something may be very peculiar to that particular state. And which is there. What Maharashtra is doing, what MP is doing, what
even Telangana did.
Telangana is doing, what Karnataka is doing.
Yeah.
I don't know what is the scenario in Northeast. Definitely different than where we are sitting now. Right. So, district or the state, similarly, district, all these have authorities, and all the authorities enjoyed by the central government or the prime minister can be enjoyed by can be used by the state and the district. The only thing is, it is restricted to their own district, their own state, their own local area. Why this is done, I think I have spoken about it. With a clear direction from top, it will be done. See, we in legislations, labor legislations per se, we have central acts and state rules. So central act, so vaisa hi hai, same. So state can make rules, state can take a waiver in a particular restriction from center, but state has to convince center. Then they can do it.
Absolutely.
See, because finally what we have to ensure is safety of people and reduce the risk, minimize the damage to life, then property.
Correct. So now, if we, yes, Sandeep, you have something.
Yes, Sandeep.
Yeah.
I have. So, what in case if I am an employer or as an employer, what precaution an employer can take to reduce this risk or to specifically minimize the accident, or I have to protect my employees in any case. So what exactly an employer can take these kind of steps so there can be like no environmental emergencies should be there.
Very good question, Sandeep. There are so many things that we have to do, but quickly what I would suggest all the employers to have a relook into policies and practices that they are following. Are they friendly in nature? Is it possible now post-COVID? Yeah. Is it covering all those sanitation requirements which were there before COVID? Can the same thing work after COVID? So overall, safety, health, and environment of people is prime importance. Even if you are doing a business activity or you are maybe some companies running a dangerous operation, you know, you have ammunition factory. So they are doing those dangerous operations. Fine, whatever operations they are doing, those are governed by certain rules and regulations. They have their internal policies, but time has come, friends, to look into our each and every policy, each and every process, more than a policy, the process and practices. Because hygiene, sanitation, the social distancing that nobody spoke about earlier, Sandeep, you will agree with me, and Supriya, right from our start of the careers or whenever we were management students or even we were kids, what we were taught 100% is teamwork, come together, yeah, engagement, engagement, yeah, socializing, but now socializing by keeping a distance. सुरक्षित अंतर ठेवा जसं आता आपण ठेवतोय. So employers have to look into each and everything, and they need to consult people who have enough experience of doing this. Partly they have these systems in place. Every company has a emergency response plan. Yeah, it is not normal ERP, as you say, it is emergency response plan or emergency response preparedness. That is more important. So they have to look into it and cover the risks and dangers that they may face or likely to face because of this virus attack. So I mean, for an example, they have a procedure, they have a training, they have everything in place to fight a fire, to fight an explosion, to fight an accident. So अगर accident हो गया तो क्या करेंगे? Right from first aid box to a ambulance to a contact with a hospital, emergency contact people, everything is there. There is a safety officer. So now, similarly, each business may have hundreds or more than hundreds of risks that they have identified. Now they have to add this COVID risk into that. They have to identify pandemic as a major risk in today's time. And there can be offshoots of this pandemic, which can affect various areas of their business. So they have to tune all their processes and safety, health and environment processes to cover and reduce issues that they are likely to face because of their business operations. Sandeep, am I clear, or the question was?
Yeah. So every company has to modify its ERP now, as per your opinion in that case.
Yes, yes,
That's
yes.
great.
Lovely.
Satisfied my question. Thank you, sir.
So then what about the insurance? Like, for example, God forbid nobody dies, but then in case if, tomorrow my employer had called me to the office, I was working good, 4 din baad mein I am having the symptoms of corona, thereby I get ill and I die. So whose responsibility it would be? And would the employer need to, after the death, would the employer be responsible for any compensation?
Okay. I mean, there are so many laws and there are so many practices which companies are following, and there are various products which are there offered by insurance companies. As far as legal standpoint is concerned, this particular illness or this particular issue is not an occupational issue as far as we know till now. Not an occupational issue. I mean, virus can attack a policeman also, virus can attack a school going kid also, virus can attack a retired person, virus can attack a army jawan, virus can attack a lawyer, virus can attack a diplomat, virus can attack a mantri, sabko ho sakta hai. So that is because the occupation. So it is not an occupational hazard. So there is no direct binding on employer to ensure people or their employees against this particular pandemic, the virus and the illness associated. However, the Mediclaim policies, what these companies they have taken, or whatever coverage they have obtained under ESI Act, the Employee State Insurance Act, they need to check all those provisions and they have to understand from those various authorities and experts what can happen, what cannot happen. Okay, that is legal point of view. Now, from employee friendly point of view, or from typical HR policy and philosophy angle, whatever benefits you are offering to employees, can you cover corona? Because if you can cover corona, and I'm sure insurance companies have such policies and they already have such products which they are approaching various employers with that. But how much it will get covered, what kind of risks these employees are likely to face, they come from which locality, matlab khatra kitna hai, they can amend those terms and conditions. Or there are many riders in a Mediclaim policy where I mean, the very favorite of Mediclaim insurance people who handle it, what is the upper limit for maternity benefit? So there is an upper limit for maternity benefit, and there are various limits for various things. So do you want to put a limit, or you want to make it a limitless? There is something called as a corporate buffer. So do you want to amend those conditions just to take care of that one unfortunate employee who is attacked by this particular virus and who's facing issues and who is in an ICU in a hospital? That is one. So will you cover that? Some companies also offer domiciliary domiciliary services. Do you want to give a special thing or empanel some very good doctors who can advise employees on how to reduce the risk when they are in their personal life, professional life inside the company and all that, even work from home things and all that is covered, and employer will keep on educating his associates or employees in that. But you have a relook on that particular policy also. Just don't keep it, हाँ है वो mediclaim है, cover हुआ तो हुआ, नहीं हुआ तो नहीं हुआ, ऐसा नहीं चलता है. We have to be sensitive enough and amend or change our approach to look at the benefits in terms of more friendly for people in a situation that they are going through today. And mind it. Sorry.
I have slowly pissed into, I have slowly slipped into the ESIC also from disaster. Yeah. That's my bad. But then there are so many questions, and there have been so many questions that we have been getting so far from the industry, and people were really going very confused about their liabilities, which are increasing for the employers day after another, and that is definitely stressing most of the employers for that matter. Because as you correctly said that yes, no one wants to be inhuman to their employees. But then what about the employers? There is nothing probably, or there is nothing much probably to cover them and to ensure or insure their liabilities. So yeah, so maybe the employer within me also came up with that ESIC kind of question. So yeah, tomorrow when we cover this legislation, we would definitely want you to throw more light on it. But then, sir, right now, what will be the critical advices as per the disaster management which you would want to give to the employers while they are thinking of restarting the business with 30 or 33% of capacity?
Okay. When they are restarting, first they have to be well versed with what conditions, what restrictions are applicable to them. So basically what they can do and what they cannot do. And they have to know this from authentic sources. You cannot just rely on WhatsApp or, some kahi suni baatein karke fayda nahi hai, because based on that, the employer is going to take a decision. The managers are going to execute that decision. So the responsibility of consequences of any decision for that matter is the responsibility of the employer. Now it is whether it was good, right, wrong, that time will decide. But at the same time, the employer has to be aware of what employer can do and what employer cannot do. Now, what's happening is, if you have observed, Sandeep, I think you must have observed, slowly they made the controls tight. Now they are releasing partly. Now they are going into various regions and releasing something locally. So what is applicable to me today may not be applicable to me tomorrow. And something which is applicable today will go and something else will come. So we are living in such a ambiguous situation or a ever-changing situation. So we have to keep our information up to date, that what is happening, what is not happening to us. Secondly, how to act on it. So when you review your processes, what is to be done, what is not to be. Now again, coming back to your first question, those 5 to 6 acts that you cannot overlook, those are most important. So if somebody is thinking of saving money from salaries of people or overtime of people or this or that, in any kind of malpractices which were not even allowed pre-COVID, if there is no virus attack and there is no disaster, still those rules are applicable. So you don't have to take any holiday from those rules or any extra saving from कि अच्छा वो rule अभी नहीं है. मतलब like the question you asked that वो दो घंटे का payment देना है नहीं देना है. Payment तो देना है भाई, overtime rate which is double उससे देना है. वो तो करना है. हाँ जी, you were saying something?
No.
Okay. And as far as Disaster Management Act is concerned, it's the responsibility, I would say, on the employers. As we have seen the 4-tier system, when it comes to your enterprise, the entrepreneur is the central government. The CEO, the MD, the board, they are the central governments. Or that security guard who's standing outside your premises and watching and warding your premises inside the company, people who are there in the pantry, the executives who are working in the manufacturing shop, the workers, the suppliers, the customers, their people coming and going, visitors, everybody is your responsibility as an employer. So you have to be very, very cautious, and I would say extra cautious now about health and safety of people. Now, what is the benefit out of it? Benefit is, you will agree with me that who runs your business is people. People will make your business, do your business first of all, and take it to the desired goal. And they can do better also. I need not justify this. So if you take care of most valuable assets, most flexible assets of your company will be taken care by those employees and those assets that you are carrying. So उनके लिए जितना हो सके उतना करो, और आप जो कर रहे हो वो बताओ. They are your business partners. They are people who are running shoulder to shoulder, standing there with you in your office, on the shop floor, on the road, everywhere. They are the business. They are running the business. So take care of them. Secondly, we have come across such examples where people started their office or the factory or the workshop, and some small or medium-sized accidents happen. A short circuit happens in the office, in the plant, some fire, some explosion, because the machinery is not in use for 2 months. So you have to check. As you are checking the health of people entering your premises, you are doing that thermal testing, you are asking them to use sanitizers. Sanitize the entire area of your functioning, that is the workplace, first. Second, see that every part of it is working properly and is proper. Because in 2 months, you think that it was lockdown, nobody came in, but the rodents, the pests, maybe the temperature, the humidity, कहाँ बारिश हुई है, कहाँ लीकेज है, क्या हुआ है, you don't know. What has happened to your hydrant system? Are your fire extinguishers working? So you have to ensure safety of all the people, safety and upkeep of safety equipment itself. Sanitize it, make it proper, then use it.
Okay. So, sir, apart from this health and hygiene trainings, is there any other training which is mandatory in the current situation while we are asking our workforce to come back to office?
Yes. First of all, employees need to be educated when they are coming to work, starting from home, coming to factory. There are restrictions, there are rules, and there are guidelines of the government, and which are publicized everywhere. So they have to still make employees understand what exactly applies to them and what care they should take while they start from home, reach the office, in case of any eventuality, in case of any issue on the way, whom to contact, what can be done, what cannot be done. All those advisories are to be released by the employer to the employees. Now, this is in addition to what government has given. The guidelines are not going to be different, but it is reinforcing those guidelines. So I don't want my employees to break some rules and come. I am a corporate citizen of India. And in pandemic or non-pandemic, I don't want any breach of law by any of my associates who's doing business with me. So that is one. Secondly, it is my responsibility to support such individuals who are supposed to do such actions. So I should give advisory, I should give them, I mean, if possible, provide them masks, provide them sanitizers, advise them what kind of sanitizers you can use, what you cannot use. If you don't have a sanitizer, how can you sanitize? That is something your safety officer, your company panel doctors can, click videos, can give advisories, can have chats with their employees and advise. So such things can be done by the employer. Secondly, moment they come into the premises. Now, as people say, it's a new normal. Yeah. But I would say it is normal being done with a new way of doing it. हाँ, मैं अगर कुक हूं तो मैं जाके कुकिंग ही करूंगा ना, दूसरा क्या करूंगा. लेकिन कुकिंग करते समय what extra precaution I should take with material, with men, with equipment, with tools, with people coming in, people going out, वो सब मुझे देखना है. Anyway, that may be a wrong example because canteen cannot run now. It is better have people get something from their home and not pick up and not on the way. Anyway, those avenues are not available now. Best is home cooked food because you don't have to worry. Come on, Supriya. Why your face is like that? You don't have to worry because it is cooked in your home and you are eating it 2 months. Come on, you are still alive. So, okay, go ahead. Eat that only. Again, there are very, very normal practices and sharing and all that. अंगत पंगत अपन करतो, we share. अरे मेरे बीबी ने बहुत अच्छी सब्जी बनाई है, हाँ टेस्ट करके देखो ना, पाव भाजी बनाई. मत करो ऐसा कुछ. So these are simple things which you have to tell people. You have to keep safe distancing in your canteen. Whether canteen is not working but dining hall is working. So ये सब ट्रेनिंग देना है. नया प्रोसेस, नई प्रोसीजर जब आप खुद बनाओगे तो उस प्रोसीजर का पहले ट्रेनिंग देना पड़ेगा एम्प्लॉयज. ये न्यू नॉर्मल से कैसे काम करे, कैसे डील करे, इसका ट्रेनिंग देना ही पड़ेगा. विदाउट ट्रेनिंग, इफ यू जस्ट टेल देम टू डू समथिंग, इट्स गोइंग टू बी.
Sir is logged out. I am sure he'll come back in a minute. Internet and bandwidth are being an issue for sure.
Okay, sir, can you tell us, aligning to this question, what is the role of safety officer in this context? Can you just throw a light regarding, because we are curious about knowing the role of safety officer.
Good, very, very important question, Sandeep. Thanks for that. See, safety officer in a normal circumstances, what is a safety officer supposed to do? He takes care of safety of people and damages to property. I mean, no damage to the property. So, people and property. Now, because of this particular disaster or the virus or a likely issue that people would face because of virus, because of restrictions, because of new procedures, everything like social distancing norms, this, that. The first thing the safety officer is supposed to do is participate in designing of training programs for people's safety and minimum damage or loss to the property. Then conduct the training to people, conduct the training to contract labor. Some safety officers may have to conduct training at senior levels also, because for safety officer, every person coming inside the premises is a concern, and he or she should be concerned about the safety of people coming in, going out. Absolutely. Safety of people who are coming in touch with you or your business activity, everything is there. Plus health. Now this health part, see, safety is something when you operate, you have to take care of yourself. So those masks and everything will come. But about the health part of it. As far as safety officers was concerned, they were more concerned about fitness of employees to work. Now it is fitness of employee as a human being itself, coming inside the premises or leaving the premises or doing something, a human being doing something in the premises. Is he taking care of his or her own health? That is most important. कितने बार मेडिकल करना पड़ेगा, किस चीज का टेस्टिंग करना पड़ेगा, लाइक थर्मल टेस्टिंग, सैनिटाइजेशन प्रोसीजर सिखाना पड़ेगा, हाथ कैसे साफ करे, किस से साफ करे, उसका वीडियो बना के दिखाना पड़ेगा. ये सब काम सेफ्टी ऑफिसर को करना ही पड़ेगा. एंड आई वुड से taking another step forward, safety officers, I know this is an unforeseen situation and safety officers are not trained fully to handle pandemic, but they are trained and they are supposed to train others to handle emergencies. Now similar emergencies could be there and they would have had some experience of it, so they should use that particular experience, share with each other. There are forums which work for this, like National Safety Council, Chamber of Commerce has safety and environment wing. So all those are there. They should share their knowledge. I'm sure they are doing something about it, and they should implement that in the company premises. They are supposed to be advisors of management as far as safety, health, and environment is concerned. Now, some companies may have somebody who's taking care of environment, who's a different officer, a quality system is a different officer, safety system, a different officer, whatever it is. Or there will be a one man. Or in some cases, there will not be a safety officer because legally it is not binding on them. So they don't have a dedicated safety officer. But then there is an administrative officer. But then there is a estate manager. Or maybe there is a HR manager. There is a personnel manager. There is a personnel and administration manager. You call it anything, but the person who's responsible for safety of people is that particular safety officer who should take care of safety of people and now should focus on this particular disaster situation. And going forward, now everybody is asking what is post-COVID. Post-COVID, in your list, the coronavirus has appeared. There are already so many other things. Yeah, there is a dengue, there is malaria, there is whatever, there is cancer, there is this, there is whatever. There is a stress because of that. There are other issues. There are operations inside the company because of that. There are occupational hazards. But this particular issue may or may not come up as an occupational issue. But the occupation may be under a threat because of this issue. So safety officer has to take command and control. See, there is a term which they use called command center or command control center. So he is at the nucleus of that command center. He is the person who will advise. He is the person who will facilitate execution of it and who will also mitigate the risk.
Okay.
And at the end, if at all something happens, he is your fighter. He is your warrior who will take others with him and come out of the situation, help you come out with minimum damage. Yes, Sandeep. Anything you want to add to your question, Supriya? You want to add to this?
No, I think this looks good. But then last 2 minutes, and we will wind it off with last question. Now, having discussed about every aspects, how can we forget about the punishments? So say if I have an employee and if I'm asking him to come to work, and if there are no e-passes, but it was with the employer's employer's order that the person was coming to the place, coming to work, and he is caught by the policeman, who is responsible in that case? The employee who was following the orders of employer or the employer?
Okay, it's a very tricky situation, I would say, but people would have faced this, and there have been cases like that people want to show the letter or the iCard of this thing and say that okay, ye SMS dekho, ye phone call dekho, Malik se baat karo, mujhe jana hai. Yeah, I mean there are cases, and I know there are genuine cases. We are not talking about the safety and security people who are supposed to work in this particular situation. So त्या शासकीय सेवेत आणि त्या सेवेत आरोग्य सेवेत असलेल्या लोकांबद्दल आपण नाही बोलत, but others. Now see how Disaster Management Act is the umbrella over it. The restrictions on personal movement from his residence or the house or wherever he is, and the restriction on the employer to house number of employees in the premises. These are two different things. Are you getting me?
Yeah.
So employer should follow his or her own restrictions and try to work around the best possible way. Get those people who can start running the business and keep it running for 8 hours. Those 33% or whatever, then next 33%, then next 33%. So all that. Now, whom to call, what time, all that. There are different laws and rules, and there are prerogatives of employer that they can. So as far as employer is not allowing more than say 33%, as an example, inside the premises to work, then he's safe. If he is calling more than 33 and it is found that more than 33 were present inside the premises physically and working, then there will be an issue and employer will be punished or liable for consequences. Now come to the e-pass or whatever permission to travel and all that. Whether employee is coming from which area, which zone, affected zone, non-affected zone, there are different rules and regulations. So if employee doesn't follow those rules and regulations as per the Disaster Management Authority, the employee is responsible for the consequences. Yeah. Okay, I cannot say that my employer.
I'm sorry, I interrupted. Anyway, I don't think the containment zone people will even get an e-pass. They won't. So,
no, they won't.
Yeah, they won't. So the question can be majorly for the either the orange zone people or the people who have their office at a walkable time, walkable distance, and if they are trying to be just overruling the rules. For that, yes, as you correctly said, we have got the point that the employees would be the first primary responsibility, not to break any rules. Yeah.
Secondly, just to add, as you said, non-restricted zones, let's say, जहाँ पे restriction नहीं है, मतलब you can move.
Yeah, come
but still there are some restrictions. Like where I am staying in Pune, we have a restriction to stay at home after 7 in the evening. Till 7 in the morning tomorrow. Correct. Now, if somebody calls me in the third shift, I have to start from my office around 9, 10, whatever, and reach the factory or the office at 11, 12, which is not possible. So I have to sort permission, and there is a way to sort permission. You can produce the documents before moving out of house on duty. Complete those formalities, and then you can go. In any case, there is no company transport or a public transport available. So how you will go? There are again guidelines on that. So you have to follow that. And if you don't follow those guidelines, you are liable.
Lovely. Sir, last in one sentence, I would just want you to please brief us about the punishment under Disaster Management Act.
Yeah. I feel nobody should get punished. That's my first thing. I wish it should not happen. But there are punishments under Disaster Management Act. There are punishments for people who are not following the norms, which can range from a fine, which is from say around 1,000 rupees fine for for something very, very silly, I would say, not wearing a mask and going out in the open. Can be, I heard that it's 500. I never tried. Sorry. Otherwise, I would have shown you the slip also. But from there up to, even 50,000, up to 50,000, that can happen to a single individual. So imprisonment from 1 month to 3 months, and fine, as I said, from 1,000 to even 50,000 rupees in a personal capacity. In a enterprise kind of a thing, or a business, as an employer or a company. So company is liable for that. And in that case, again, the individuals who took the decision, like the employer. So the factory manager, the CEO, the MD, whoever has taken the decision, or the officer who took the decision using the delegation of authority powers and taken the decision, is personally liable to face, get these punishments. And also there can be a prosecution against an employer if the employer does not follow the rules and the regulations.
Superb. Thank you so much, sir. So this was complete brief about the Disaster Management Act and its implications in the current situation. I really thank you, sir, to you and Sandeep, to you too, for joining and contributing. Sir, thank you so much for giving such a wonderful insight. We are not going to leave you with just this small thank you note. Tomorrow also we are going to continue with Social Security laws. So guys, stay tuned, be there tomorrow also with us, and for the further 6 days while sir will be giving us insights about the other acts which are applicable in the current situation. Thank you so much. Take care, stay safe.